Hello, my name's Heather. I'm from Electric Needle Girls, and today I'm going to talk to you about internal zip pockets. And they are the ones that you see on the inside of a bag that has a zip on them, or a zipper, depending upon which part of the world you come from. So to make an internal zip pocket, you need your bag lining, which is this piece. That's our bag lining. So that's what you see when you open the bag. And this piece is the pocket, because we double that up and sew it together, and that becomes the lining. And yes, the fabric will be on the correct side when we've finished our little Houdini trick here. Now we stock number 5 zip tape, which is handbag zip. And you'll see we've got this red in lots of different teeth colours. And we've recently added number 3 zip tape, which is called craft zip tape, or it is about the size of garments zip tape, but it's by the metre like we sell our other stuff. Anyway, the point of that is that if you use a number 3, you draw a different size box. Now on the pocket, on the wrong side of the pocket fabric, you draw a rectangle. Now I've decided I want a 6-inch opening, so I've drawn a rectangle 6 inches by 3/8 of an inch. And that, with number 3 tape, that's a good size, because we see a little bit of the zip tape, but it holds it in securely. Whereas on number 5 zip tape, we've drawn a box that again is 6 inches long, because we want a 6-inch opening, but it is 1/2 inch. I wrote 1/2 inch here, didn't I? Well done. 1/2 inch wide. We centre that on our bag lining, and we centre the pocket to the lining. You do that by cutting little notches. Can you see that notch? Possibly not. Anyway, little notches in the pieces on bags, and it helps you centre things on bags. So we've drawn those lines, and they're the sewing lines, and then down the middle we've drawn the cutting line. So Vicky did this yesterday afternoon, because she's the other person in this business. She's sewn around the dark lines. Now, she actually hasn't sewn on the short ends of the rectangle, because they will fold back. So this one is cut, and this one's also cut, but I'll show you what I do. Sorry, pins, and I need some glasses, otherwise I won't see what I'm doing. Got everything here, I just don't know where it is. So to cut on the drawn line, I have to remove this. Whoops, Skittles. Anyway, doesn't matter. I folded it over, and I do a snip in the centre. Then I unfold it, and I cut along. I've got a pin magnetised to this. There we go. Cut along on that drawn line, but I find it easier when I get to the V, because I want to cut right in close to the end of the stitch line, which has been back tacked at all ends, and I find it easier to do this with these little embroidery scissors. That just makes it that I can be much, much more accurate. Now the process we go through then is that we poke this through, and that's how come the pocket will be right sides together inside, and the lining will be correct. Now we press that very carefully with best press or splatter, or even some steam. So we end up with this window. So this is the lining of the bag. We've got this window, And this is our pocket fabric. And you can see how nice and flat Vicky's got it. That will then be the pocket, but you won't see that fabric because the zip will be there in the place. Now, what I plan to show you this afternoon is how to baste this zip, which is 7.5 inches long because I cut a 6-inch hole. Then we have about 3/4 of an inch at either end, is how I baste this in place ready to sew. We use double-sided wash-away tape. Now this is designed for the fabric sewing industry, and what it does, you do not have to wash it away. You may, but you don't have to wash it away. But it, clear a space for you, it is, and if you can see any of it, you would get a wet cotton bud or a paintbrush or something and dab on it, and that would then dissolve. So what I'm going to do now is get my pull straight, and I'm going to put a piece of this double-sided tape onto it's close to the edge of the zip tape as I can get it, and cut it off. So that's what I've done there. That's still got the protective paper over the top. And then I take another piece and I put it on the other side. Now, some bag makers will say to you that zips should always open from the left to the right. What did I do? Just dropped it, gracious me. That is not a hard and fast rule. That is something that, if you are right-handed, probably feels more natural. Notice here I'm just going over the tape. I'll hold it up, yes. I'm going over the tape with my fingers because the paper, the sticky bit doesn't often want to come away from the paper. Now this is coming away easily, so leaving the residual sticky bit on the tape, and I'll pull this one off too. Oh, I got two for two. How's that? So I am going to have the pocket opening from the left to the right, so it's closed when it's at the left and open when it's on the right. But if you are left-handed and you are more comfortable having it the other way around, please do. As Vicky and I always say, you make the bag you want to make, not the bag someone else tells you they want to make or you should make. So I've now laid that down. I do need to do it on the table. I can't do it standing up. Now I position this window over the zip tape and I press it down, and I have basted my zip tape in place, and that will stay there until I'm ready to sew it. I wouldn't do this and wait 6 months because the tape probably will come off, but if you sew it straight away, that will work. Now, when Vicky sewed around the box, she did it with a 2.5mm stitch length. She sewed the top and bottom, back tacking at both ends. And when we sew it into the project, so we permanently attach it in. And this is the number 3 and this is the number 5. She has increased the stitch length to 3.5 because it is top stitching. When she started sewing, to make it neat, I think you started up here. So she started with long tails so she didn't get a nest on the back, and no back tacking, and sewed all the way around, pivoting at all the corners, coming back up and then going over the previous stitching 3 stitches, then back tacking, and then she pulled the threads away and cut them. So that gives you quite a neat, oh, I puckered it with the stapler. That gives you quite a neat finish. And then as you can see, this happens afterward. She's sewn up the pocket. So she's come up here, there's back tacking here, across the top and down the bottom, ensuring that you don't sew in the actual lining of the bag, because you want to keep this piece separate. Doesn't matter so much if it gets sewn into the bag at the top here, but you want not to be sewn in. And then we've got a pocket which will hold the key to your post office box. What else do you put in your little pockets? A lippy, all sorts of things, as you know. Things that you don't want to use every day but you need to have with you. So that's pockets. So that's pretty good. We've got number 3 zip tape in 4 colours at the moment. We've got white and black with the 5 metal finishes that we carry. We've got this berry wine and this blue, and blue goes with lots and lots of things. We've got some pulls in all 5 colours. There's more coming very soon. We've been told they're on their way. And I think that's how you do zipper pockets. And I find now that I know how to do them, I find them to be, it's quite a magical skill. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is modifications I make to bags. And because I'm old and I don't have to answer to anybody, a pattern for me is merely a guideline. So this is the Auntie's 2 mini Poppins bag. I've done a few modifications on this. The most important one for this video is I added bag feet. And unusually for me, I put 4 on this, but often I like 5 because I like odd numbers. Artistically for me that works, but please do what you want to do. I've also put zip ends on it, which we sell in our shop. And I made different handles because I can. And I have a rivet press, but we also sell Chicago screws, which are a really good facsimile for rivets. And I put rivets on here. So now I want to talk to you about how to put bag feet into your bag, because it does add just that little, it protects it. You can hear that when I put these down on, protects it from the floor, because often you have to put a handbag on the floor, particularly bigger bags. I think it adds a little bit of bling, and you know, who doesn't like a little bit of bling? So this is how I put bag feet in. We've got 2 styles of bag feet. Move your pins away. There we go. Might take my glasses off soon, because this is the base of a Little Poppins, which is the big sister to this bag. And we haven't got around to making the bag yet, but we've started with the base because that's the first thing in the pattern. I've used screw-in bag feet for this one, and I also like to put a little washer of Decaville. I've done Decaville on the base here to just make sure that the screw can go in tight. So I make these washers, and I've just started doing it this way with cutting a small piece of Decaville and then cutting it out with my pinking shears. Now, I just will tell you, just as a little side note, these are my grandmother's pinking shears, and I paid a scissor sharpening person to, oh, they squeak, to sharpen them for me, and they work. These are my grandmother's, and she was old when I was born. Anyway, that doesn't matter. She's old. I think she would have been 120 this year. I've just worked it out. How can I think and talk at the same time? I don't know. Anyway, so I put 5 feet on this bag because I do like odd numbers. We chose to go with the rainbow finish, whereas these are the silver finish. We've got them in gold, gunmetal, one more, antique and rainbow. So they are put in with a screwdriver. Now we stock these in our shop. I think ours are blue, aren't they, Vicky? They hold spare heads, so they're magnetised. I knew there was more than that. So there's one in it and another 4 here. So you've got Allen keys, flat, screwdriver. No, there's not an Allen key. I thought there was an Allen key. No, looks like an Allen key, I just can't see. So there's flat and Phillips head screwdrivers there. So that's really good. Very good on your sewing machine as well. And the really fabulous thing is that you don't lose your bits. So they're all stored in there. And I put my name on it to make it harder to lose again. So I screw those up with that. And I also put a little bit of, where are we? Loctite, which is a glue that you put on the thread of the screw, which holds it, keeps the thread done up tight. Just a tiny little dab. I do that with the toothpick. It's blue. This one's blue. Tiny little dab on the thread and screw it up. Another thing I do, and this is never seen by anybody except you would see it if you didn't do it, probably could do, is that I use fray stopper because I cut a raw edge with my, I'll get this out now, to put a hole in this, I use a Japanese style screw punch, which I think ours comes with 6 different size holes. And I'll put another hole in this little washer because I don't have any spare ones. But you simply push this down. Now I'm on a mat, I'm not on my lovely table here. And I put a hole. And you can go through the fabric and the interfacing here, the stabiliser, and that makes that hole. And they work really well. I find they work better than the rotary ones. I can't get the rotary one to work, but maybe I'm just a bit silly. And then I would put the fray stopper on the fabric around that hole to stop that fraying. So that's screwing bag feet. And then we have split pins bag feet. So again, we've got these in 5 colours. They're a little bit bigger. Now I can't pick up the washer. So these have got 2 pins. Can you see those 2 pins? So we put this washer onto what we need to cut, and then we mark the lines and cut them with a blade, and then we can push this through the work. I still like to have another washer on the back, which I've also cut holes in, and then I can press these open with my hand and we get that flash. But I then, when it's in the bag, I don't like to have this with fabric just on top of fabric. So what I do, and I have a piece here, previously cut, this is gaffer tape. And I like the white because it just looks a bit, I don't know, less like it came out of the workshop. And I put that over this, and this stays in my bag between the lining and the base of the bag. And you can do that, you can use that with twist locks and all sorts of things that have this mechanism at the back, because it smooths it out and protects the fabric from the fabric that's over the back of it from wearing out. And I have a project, I have a purse that I made, which is really lovely, but it's going to wear, the first place it's going to wear, because I made that a long time ago, is at the behind the twist lock. So there we go, that's bag feet. We sell them in packs of 5 in 5 different colours. It's hard to remember all those things, isn't it? Fray stopper, so you get the brush with the reservoir and a refill reservoir. And there we go. I hope you've enjoyed listening to us. My name's Heather from Electric Needle Girls. Please come to our website if you're interested in anything. Send me a message if you're interested in anything. I'm trying to put up some interesting blog posts about zip tape and about all sorts of other things. And happy sewing. Heather, Electric Needle Girls.